why we work our whole lives. To eat, to put food on the table, to buy things that we want, to be able to do things that we enjoy. Because nothing's free in this world. Everything costs something. There is no better solution. If you want to go back in the day when we used to farm, it wasn't easy. Farming is very seasonal. The weather has to be good. You need rain, you need water, you need sunlight. Can't be too cold. But you might think it's not just crops. It's not just plants and vegetables that we eat. There's animals. I think most people think farming is a magical solution because you could just go to the grocery store and buy what you want to eat, or go to a restaurant and buy what you want to eat. But that's not how it really works. Farming is a type of work. You're still working. It's not easy to farm. You have to water the plants. You have to make sure it doesn't get eaten by insects. And then you have to raise the animals to produce eggs and to produce milk. And when you're talking about traditional farming back in the day, things don't grow as fast. It takes time for cows to grow. It takes time for chickens to grow. It's not like nowadays where you have factory farms where a chicken can grow into a full adult in a couple of days, where they just lay eggs left and right, where you just have a lot of milk. So maintaining a farm is not easy. And when you look at history, when people did farm, there would be years where there wouldn't be any crops that grow. They wouldn't have any vegetables to eat. There was famine. Food was scarce. So you would have to mix that with hunting. You will also have to hunt for food. And if you want to go even further back in time, where all we did was hunt, that wasn't easy. You were literally hunting all day to find enough food for your tribe or for your family. If you didn't have a successful hunt, you would starve. Your family would starve, your tribe would starve, and you didn't really know when your next meal was. Not every day do you have a successful hunt. And what about when the climate changed? What about when animals migrated elsewhere? You wouldn't even be able to find an animal for miles. There's a lot of things that people don't think about. Things aren't always as easy as it looks or as it sounds. There's always gonna be something that's flawed, something you can complain about. Like, have you ever farmed before? Most people wouldn't even like to farm. You would have to be able to stand the smell of animals, the stench. Have y'all been to a farm? You would have to be responsible and take care of the crops. You can't mess up or else you won't have anything to eat. There was no grocery store. And if you hunt for food, if you can't find food, or if you didn't have a successful hunt, you wouldn't be able to eat. There is no grocery store. There is no convenience. Nobody was coming to save you. If you weren't doing well, there was no government assistance. There's no food stamps. There's no welfare. At least now, if you're struggling, you might get some help. There's a chance you might get some help. But back then, it was really just on you. It was either you were capable or you starved. Natural selection, survival of the fittest, was a real thing back then. Now, not so much, because what humanity has created, we created safety nets, retirement plans, government assistance, wanting to help others, nonprofits that donate to the poor. These are all the things that we've created to make modern society better than it was before. So things aren't perfect now, but it's better than before. That's what most people fail to understand. There was no refrigerator back then. You couldn't refrigerate your food. So the food really only lasts a couple of days max, and you will either have to produce more food or hunt for more food. But now we have the convenience of having refrigerators. We can go to the grocery store and buy a month's worth of groceries, and if we're too lazy, we could get it delivered. There's fast food restaurants. We have more options and more choices. You can eat at a high-end restaurant, or you could eat at a fast food restaurant. You could cook food at home. These options weren't around back in the day. Early humans didn't have this type of opportunity. They didn't have this type of choice. It was either hunt or you starved. It was either you were capable or you starved. No one was gonna help you. No one was gonna save you. They didn't have the luxury of having toilets or a shower. They didn't even have toilet paper. So when you compare that to a stable job is so much better because you know when your next meal is. We as humans, we like to be in our comfort zone. We like to know what's next. We like predictability. We like to know when our next paycheck is, when our next meal is. We don't like getting out of our comfort zone. That's why most people are not where they want to be, because we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. zone and to explore the unknown or try something different because we don't know what the result will be. We don't like to fail. And farming was unpredictable. Hunting was unpredictable. You don't know how the weather will be next year. You don't know if next year you will have crops that grow. You don't know if next year you'll have vegetables to eat. And if you hunt, you may not have a successful hunt. It's very unpredictable from year to year. At least with a stable job, you know when your next paycheck is. You know you can just go to the grocery store. And if you work hard enough, you could buy a car. You don't have to walk. You don't have to take the bus. And if you work in the right fields and you make a good amount of money, you can eventually buy a house. You don't have to rent. You can be stable where everything is predictable and you're just in a routine. And routines can be monotonous, boring, but it's so much better compared to not knowing when your next meal is. Not knowing if you have a place to stay next month. So a lot of times we take things for granted. We're never gonna live a perfect life where we do everything we want. We do the things we don't want to do. As a man, grind, work hard jobs to be able to raise a family. Make sure our family is happy. To be able to buy the things we want to buy. To be able to go on vacation or travel. To try to live life to the fullest. Work may seem meaningless, but that is the foundation to give us the money to do the things we want to do, because nothing's free. You need money to do everything. You need money to travel. You need money to have the financial freedom to spend time with family, to go out with friends, to eat at nice restaurants, to experience nice things. Life is about doing something that's meaningful to you. You have to find that meaning. What makes you happy? What makes you want to get up in the morning every single day? What do you look forward to? And it's different for everybody. For some, it's creating art, creating music, cooking delicious food, traveling, inventing, being a doctor, saving lives. Creating meaning is different for everyone. What is meaningful to you? I understand that life can be frustrating. It feels like we're just a part of a system. You're always told to work hard, study hard, go to school, go to college, get a good paying job. It feels like the system is just trying to make us into employees, into workers, and to work our whole lives. It's frustrating, but you don't have to do that. If you work hard enough, if you develop a skill, if you make yourself capable enough, you can start your own business, create your own empire, something that belongs to you. But you have to have that type of awareness, and you have to have the courage and the capability to start and have a successful business. It's not for everyone. We're all trained to be followers, to work for a company, to be an employee, to be a worker. But if you're aware enough, you could break free. But it's not about just being aware. It's not about just having the knowledge. You also have to have the capability and the actual skill to do the task. It's not about having the knowledge. It's what you do with that knowledge that determines your success. In life, there's a lot of things we can't control. I don't like how college is 4 years. It could be shorter. Professors and teachers could get straight to the point instead of beating around the bush, and students don't really understand the concept. But I can't change that. I can only control what I'm in control of. So when I learn topics, I'm aware enough to know that people don't like it when you beat around the bush. What point are you actually trying to make? Make that point. What are you actually trying to teach? Get straight to the point and teach it. A lot of the times, teachers and professors take an hour to get their point across. Take an hour to teach something so simple that I can learn from watching a 5-minute video. So that's why when I talk, I try to get straight to the point. I try to make my thoughts very clear. What am I actually trying to say? What is the point I'm trying to make? And I understand the only way to do that is to know how to express my thoughts and my feelings, and that's by expanding my vocabulary to be able to know the words that best describes my thoughts. Even now, I have certain thoughts and certain topics I would like to talk about, but I'm not as articulate as I would like to be. In my head, I know what I'm talking about, but I can't find the words to describe my thoughts. I think communication is something that everyone should work on. That way, when you're talking, people know what you're talking about. When you're trying to get a point across, you can actually get your point across. Because there's many times that people lose an argument simply because they're not good with words. They're right, but they can't get their point across. They can't find the words to really express themselves, so they lose the argument. And the person that's wrong seems right because they use all the right words to get their point across. You can make anything sound interesting if you have the right expression, the right tone, the right words, if you know what you're saying. Anything could be funny. Anything could sound important. Talking is a form of art, but it's one of the hardest to master. So a lot of times when you're complaining, enjoy the present moment. Be present enough to not take things for granted, and understand enough to know that things aren't perfect now, but it's better than before.